Hi everyone, thank you for joining us for our first ever Let's Get Technical program. Each week we'll be looking at different apps from Adobe Creative Cloud. This software was purchased at the library due to the generous donation from the Rotary Club of Meaford, so a huge thank you to them. And if you don't own this software at home, you are more than welcome to use it at the library when we're open for the public for free. And so today I'm going to walk you through a brief tutorial on Adobe Illustrator. Now, Adobe has some built-in tutorials, so basically I'm just going to be following that, just combining a few for this session. So to begin, I'll just share my screen. And the way you access Adobe Illustrator is you just go to Adobe Creative Cloud. So here we go. We double-click there, and then you'll see all the apps listed here. So we just go straight to Illustrator. And I have it open down here, but you would just hit open here to open it. And now this is the Illustrator interface. So to create a new project, I'm just going to hit File and then New. And then you can select what size you want. I'm just going to pick A4. It doesn't really matter for this tutorial. And there we go. This is where our workspace is going to be. Now for this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make your own logos. It should give you a basic understanding of some key elements of Illustrator. And I'm going to start by making a circle. Now to make a circle, you simply go over to where the rectangle tool is, right click, hit ellipse, and then there we go. Now you just click and drag with your mouse and you can draw a circle. Now the thing is, the circle isn't symmetrical, which is what I want. So to make it symmetrical, I simply hit Shift while dragging, and that'll make sure it's perfectly symmetrical. And now I kind of want to change the color of this circle. So to change the color, I can either go here or here. So I'm going to double click here, and I can pick which color I want. So let's make it blue. And there we go. Now that's how you change the color. But for this logo, I think I wanted to match my poster. So to make it match my poster, I can simply just pull up the poster I have here. I'm going to click and drag it into my workspace. Now it's taking up some of the space, so I'm just going to click and drag it below. And I want this color to be the same as this poster. So to do that, I simply click the circle. I can left click the eyedropper tool, and then I'll click on the poster, and there we go. It changes this circle to this poster color, which is really nice and easy. So now I'm done with the poster, so I'm just going to click it and hit delete, and it's gone. And while this circle is all right, I think I want this logo to have a bit more of a modern design, a bit more oomph, so I'm going to transform it. So I'm just going to click on the circle. I'm going to hit Effect, Distort and Transform, and I'm going to make it a zigzag transform. And as you can see, it's added these ridges, which I can change how big they are. So I can have a super big star sign, or I can change how many there are, which is maybe a bit too many for this. So I'm going to go back kind of on the lower end until I get a sort of design I like for my logo. I think that looks nice. I can also smooth the corners, but for this, I prefer this design. So I'm going to hit OK. And now I want to add some text on my logo. So what I'm going to do is go to the Type tool on the left here, and then I can just type the text. So I'm going to type LGT for Let's Get Technical, and I want to make it bigger, so I'm going to hit the Selection tool. I'm going to click on the text, and I'm going to Shift, click, and drag to make it bigger. And there we go. There's our text, and now I want to change the font. So to change the font, that's over on the right here. I just click here and whichever font I want, and I really like Century Schoolbook. So I'm going to go with that font, and I'm going to bold it. There we go. And you can also adjust some other settings here if you want to change the spacing, but I'm good with what this is, so I'm just going to put it in the middle. And I think that's good, but I want to add something else. It feels like it's missing something. So I'm going to add, I think, a circle outline around the text. So what I do is simply click the ellipse tool again, click and drag a circle with Shift, make it a bit smaller than the shape, but bigger than the text. And then I don't want it to have any fill. So I simply hit Fill here, put None, but I want it to have an outline. So to get an outline, I click where it says Stroke, and I change that to white. So now I have a circle with a white outline. And I think it might be cool if this is a dashed line. So I can simply click the circle again, go to stroke, hit dash line, and it makes it dashes. And I can change the spacing of the dashes too. So if I do that one more time, hit that, hit stroke, and then I can change the dash size to 2 points, and then I'm going to change the gap between them to 4 points. I'm going to change the weight to 2. There we go. That's kind of looking like how I want it to. So I think I'm just going to change this text color to match this. So I'll change it to white by clicking. Oh, there we go. And say I didn't have these lined up. They weren't lined up how I wanted them to be. So what I could do is just click and drag, highlight everything, and then over on the right here, you have the ability to horizontally align things and vertically align things. So that centers everything. So there we go, there's my logo, and I think we're done with this one. So I'm just gonna export it. So I click and drag everything again. So everything is highlighted. I hit File, I hit Export Selection, and there we go, there's our asset. I'm gonna call this logo 1. And there we go, we can see that it has saved to our documents. So we have a PNG file of this logo. So that was a pretty simple, easy way to do a logo, but now I'm going to do something a bit more complicated because I want my logo to be colorful. So I'm going to create a new file, and for this logo, I want it to be a rectangle. So I'm going to go Rectangle, Tool, click and drag, and while the fill color of one color is kind of neat, I want it to be a gradient, I think. I think that would add a nice effect. So I can simply hit this gradient tool here, and I can change what type of gradient I want down here to radial or freeform, but I like linear. So I'm going to stick with that. And then I can open the gradient pop-out to change the colors. So I want the one side, I'm going to double click here. I want it to be purple, I think. Nice shade of purple. And then I want the other side to be a shade of blue for my logo. Let's find a color I like. It's not too dark. There we go. And you can even click right here on this line to shift how much purple and how much blue you want for the gradient. And even more so, you can rotate it to have it kind of go in the corners, which is what I want. I want it kind of in the middle. So there we go, that's the basic layout for our logo. That's going to be the background. And now I'm going to put the text in it. So I go to the Type tool, I click it, I click on the workspace, and then I'm going to type, let's get technical. And I'm going to zoom in just so I can see a bit better. So I'm going to hit Control plus to zoom. And now I'm going to make this text bigger by holding Shift and click and dragging. And if you ever make a mistake, just hit Control Z and that will fix it. So what I want, I think I want that to be on one line. And now I want to change the font a bit. So I'm going to click and drag to change the font. I like this font. And I'm going to make it bold. And I think it might be neat if all these letters were capitalized. So to make something capitalized, I can either retype it or I can simply hit these 3 dots at the bottom right here and then hit all caps, and it does it for me. I can also change the leading between the lines. So I want to make it smaller so there's less of a gap. So I'm just going to decrease it, as you can see there. And I might make the font just a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to center it, which I can do right here. So there we go, there's our text. I can shift and click to make it even bigger if I want. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit by hitting Control- to zoom out. And while this is a nice text, I think it might be fun to add a shear effect. So to do that, I simply right click on Rotate tool and I switch it to the shear tool. So now I can click and drag. Oh, do that one more time. I click that, hit the shear tool, and then click and drag. And you can see I can rotate and shear the text to give it kind of a interesting design. So I think I'm going to make it on an angle like that. Maybe that's a bit too much. Like that. And there we go. That's a bit of a fun text. Now it might be neat if I surround this with a shape. Now, rather than a circle or square, I'm going to use a polygon. So I right-click Rectangle tool and I hit Polygon. I just click and drag to make my shape, put it over the text, and I don't want it to be filled, so I go to the right here, I hit Fill, I hit None, I go to Stroke, I hit Black because I want it to have a black outline, and I'm going to increase it to 7 points, I think. And you can also change how many sides of the polygon you want. Here under Transform, there's 3 dots. You just click here and you can change how many points you want or sides you want. So I think I'm going to go to 8 sides. And then I can also rotate it by, in the corners, you'll see a little icon pop up. And I'm going to click and drag and just center everything to see how it's looking. So that looks nice. I'm liking how it's turning out. And Adobe Illustrator also has an interesting element where you can take an image that you've drawn and add it to your logo, convert it to a logo. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm just going to go to my downloads. And I drew this little robot earlier today. So I'm going to click and drag it in. And I'm going to make it a bit smaller because it's taking up all of my workspace by hitting Control, Transform, and then we're going to go to Scale. Let's make it 50%. Still too big, so we'll right click, hit Transform, we'll transform it again. And maybe one more, actually no, that's fine. So now we're going to crop the image because I want to get rid of some of this space. So I hit crop on the right here. And it's cropped a little bit, we'll crop it a bit more. Hit apply. There we go. I can do that even more, I think. There we go. And I'm just going to move it so it's not in the way of this one, because I don't want them to be connected for what I'm about to do. So now I click this and I want to convert it to a logo. So I click the image and I do image trace, and then I can have black and white logo. I just hit OK. And there we go. Adobe automatically converts it to a logo element. Now I want to get rid of all this extra space on the top here. So I'm going to hit expand. And then now I can go to group selection. And all these blue lines, I can select these groups of lines. So I'm going to select and hit delete, delete, delete. Do it that way. I'm going to delete that space. I'm going to click and drag and delete all those blue lines. Deleted too much there. There we go. And I can make sure I haven't missed any of those little blue dots by going to View and Outline. And I can see, oh, yep, I missed 2 right there. So I hit delete. And there we go. We can see it's just my logo and then this robot. So I'm going to hit View, GPU Preview to go back to what it was. And now I'm going to add my robot to my logo. So I'm going to hold Shift and drag to make it smaller. Put him there. And there we go, we've added him. Now it might be nice if I didn't have this white background for him. So what I can do is simply click on him, hit the Shape Builder tool, and then I can click the space in between. So you can see here that that's kind of a grid now. If I click it right now, it'll fill it with black, which I don't want. I want it to fill it with none. So now when I click here, it'll delete that white space and fill it with a transparent background. And I'm going to do the same for this, because I don't want this background on. Oh, I don't want this, so I'm going to move that away. I don't want this background here, so I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to hit the Shape Builder, and now I can get rid of that kind of outside background. So we're going to get rid of that. There we go. And I'm going to get rid of these lines too. We'll add our robot back. Make sure we like everything. Maybe rotate this guy a little bit more. And there we go. That's our second logo. So we're just going to click that, hit File, Export Selection, and we're going to call it Logo 2. So as you can see, Adobe Illustrator is a powerful tool for doing really simple things that you want to do in life. I just drew that robot earlier today on a scrap piece of paper, took a picture of it with my phone, and now it's in my logo. So it's a really neat tool that you can use, and that's available for you to use. And that's all I have to talk about today about Adobe Illustrator. Please note there's a lot of extra tutorials online and in the program that you can do that's available for you, and I hope you learned some new things to get you started with it. We also hope you join us for next week's video, which will be on Adobe Spark, and have a great day.